So it's no secret, those of you who know me, about my love for sports. But I have one major pet peeve when I watch sporting events on television and then hear the interviews afterward. A team has just won the game, won a championship, and what's the first thing many players do? They thank God. They thank God. And it's a huge pet peeve of mine because do we really think that God wanted one team to win and not the other team to win, right? Do we really think God had anything to do with it? And I'm fairly confident that God probably had nothing to do with it. And yet this happens, almost daily, right, in our world of sports, where a player will thank God. And I happen to be, most of you know, I'm a New York sports fan, and the Knicks are on this miracle run. They've made it to the finals. And the first thing that happened after they made it to the finals the other day was the players thank God. And I was like, oh gosh, this is so annoying. The team I like, and they're doing my number one pet peeve. And then I ended up on the phone with one of my friends, who's also a Knicks fan, and he said to me, I think you should think of this from a different perspective. He said, you should think of it from the perspective that they're not saying, I'm the greatest, look at me. They're actually being humble and thanking God for this opportunity. And I said, I'd never thought of it that way, right? It's a fascinating way to think about my biggest pet peeve when I'm watching sports. But it got me thinking a lot about this morning's Haftarah. So this morning's Haftarah is the story of Samson, right? It's a rather famous story, right, from the book of Judges. And we get the very beginning of that story in our Haftarah this morning. And Samson, as we know, is selected to be a Nazir, right? Selected to be the Nazirite, relating, of course, directly to our Torah portion from this morning. And that Nazir, right, is selected by God in the Haftarah. Samson is selected to serve God and to do all of these things. And as we know, Samson is given incredible power, right? Incredible power, as long as he doesn't cut his hair, right? And ultimately, right, Samson is not humble, right? Becomes a little full of himself, so to say. And because of that, right, ultimately, right, gets tricked by Delilah, right? I don't have to tell you the whole story, right? But he gets tricked, and ultimately, right, it takes him sort of rediscovering that connection with God to get the strength when he's blinded and bring the whole city down upon our enemies, right, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the overall message of the story of Samson is how important it is that we're humble, right? How important it is that we remind ourselves that there's something greater than us around us. Right, and that we're not always just so strong and mighty, right? That there are other things that have helped us to get us to where we are today. And oftentimes, right, when something grows so great, we're like, oh, I did such a great job on that. Right? Instead of maybe taking a step back and recognizing others helped us to get to that moment. And so even if you're someone who might get annoyed like me when a player says, I got to thank God for getting to this moment, we could think about it through a different perspective. That we're thanking God for letting us be here today, for allowing us to be in this moment as well. And Spencer, sorry, you're sitting there. I was waiting for you right there. Spencer is one of those wonderful children, right? One of those wonderful young people who is humble and sort of recognizes, there's a lot of things that go on around me, but there's a lot of people that help me get to this moment in my life. And he wants to make sure to thank all those people, and you'll get to hear about that in a little bit. But it's an important reminder for us, right, that every day as we go through life, there's going to be some ups and downs. There's going to be some great things and some challenging things. But we have to take a step back, make sure we humble ourselves, and thank the people around us who have helped us to reach this moment, including our God as well.